Let us close the eyes, remembering God and the Masters. We will pray. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May God protect us all. May God nourish us with wisdom and knowledge. May we meditate and pray together. May there be no discord among us. May there be more love and peace within and everywhere. I bow to one formless God. I bow to all the saints and sages, including sage Patanjali, for all the wisdom we have received from them. I bow to the lineage of Kriya Yoga masters and the living power of God in each one of you. Good evening from Homestead, Florida, Miami Ashram. We are celebrating our Foundation Day seminar here. In our previous class, we had discussed about the Kriya Yoga, how Kriya Yoga helps to lead us to path of liberation. Within one lifetime, one can get liberation. Today, we are going to discuss on two topics in the Sadhana Pada, the second book. The first, we will cover the 7 stages of Samadhi or stages of wisdom. And then how do we reach there? So what is the path? What is the methodology? We'll cover in today's class in short. In the Yoga Sutra, as you know, that after discussing the path of Kriya Yoga, Sage Patanjali is now going to talk about the seven stages of Samadhi. So it is in the 27th Sutra of second book. Tasya saptadha pranta bhumihi prajna. In this case means in case of Purusha, or you can say the soul, the discriminative knowledge is in sevenfold stages. When we talk about Samadhi, which is the goal of our life, our practice in path of yoga, Samadhi is the goal and the Nirvikalp Samadhi is the highest state of Samadhi. But we don't reach there suddenly in one day. There is a step-by-step process and we go through certain stages to the final stage of Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So what are those 7 states of Samadhi or stages of Samadhi? It is said Saptadha Pranta Bhumihi. Bhumi means the ground, how we are grounded there. So there are two interpretations. As Sage Patanjali is telling, the 7 stages of wisdom, prajna, they are known as, first is Dvesha Shunya Avastha. As we start meditation, we become free from all our impurities, all our likes and dislikes. So the very first stage we experience towards the goal of Samadhi, we start becoming free from all the likes and dislikes, especially dislike. If we dislike someone, even any living being, let's say even the animal, if we dislike, forget about the Samadhi. Realization comes only when we perceive God or divinity in each and everything in this creation. So the first stage, freedom from dislike, we call it Dvesha Shunya Avastha. Then we come to second stage in our experience. It is the reduction of the cause of avoidance, Heya Hetu Kshin Avastha. So we start understanding and we become free from the cause. Whatever is causing us any difficulty or suffering in life, so we can avoid those cause and we can eliminate those cause. Then third stage comes prapya prapta avastha, state of contentment. That means if we get something, it's fine. If we do not get, we don't desire for that. So we start having contentment in life, that whatever is there, it is sufficient for my progress and I'm happy with that. Then we come to the fourth stage, which is called chikirsha shunya avastha. That means a state of desirelessness. We do not desire for anything else. If there is food, fine. If there is no food, we are fine. So in any condition, we just accept everything as the gift of God. So no more unnecessary desires except the highest desire of liberation. Then fifth stage we reach through our continuous practice, which is called a state of inner fulfillment, chitta swattva kritarthata. Means we start feeling that there is nothing more. What should I achieve? I have experienced everything and only thing I want is God. So there is a kind of inner fulfillment. We feel that there is a purpose in life, there is a purpose in practice, and I'm happy with my practice. So that contentment, and now here it is the fulfillment. We don't feel any incompleteness. Then sixth stage arrives, which is called gunahinata, dissolution of qualities. Remember, our mind, which is under the influence of three qualities of nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas, because of the imbalance between these three qualities, mind is playing continuously. When these three qualities of mind, which are also the quality of nature, when these qualities come to a perfect equilibrium, then mind dissolves into its original cause. So the sixth stage we experience, dissolution of qualities, means we are not influenced by any quality, but we always remain in the state of calmness, peace, perfect balance of three qualities. Then the last seventh stage comes, which is called Atmasthiti. Atmasthiti means then we are established in the self. So to remain established in the self or to attain the state of samadhi, we have to go through these stages of samadhi. And one after the other, when we reach or we go, then finally we can reach the goal of our life, that Atmasthiti. We are always remaining in our own self, that soul consciousness, or you can say God consciousness. So this is the interpretation. Now, Brahmarshi Satyadev, another realized master, he has given another interpretation, and that is the 7 stages of samadhi according to him. And here you can see, this is in the Yoga Vasishtha. In Yoga Vasishtha, we can find the 7 stages of samadhi, a different interpretation. And it says, it is in the 3rd book of Yoga Vasishtha, Utpatti Prakarana, chapter number 118, verse number 5 and 6. Jnana Bhumi Shubhechhakhya Prathama Samudahrita Vicharana Dvitiya tu Tratiya Tanu Manasa Sattva Chaturthi Syat Tatos Asansakti Namika Padartha Bhavini Shashti Saptami Turyaga Smrta. So what are these 7 stages of samadhi? First is called Shubhecha. What is Shubhecha Samadhi? Shubhecha, Shubha means noble, Ichha means desire. So Shubha means noble or divine. That means a yogi on the path of yoga always wishes for the good of others. He is cherishing all good wishes, no ill wish for anyone. So this is the stage we start experiencing, that whatever we think only for noble people or noble cause, or all our desires or wishes start becoming noble only. And desire from freedom is also noble wish. As this intensity of desire remains with us, so the speed of evolution depends on that. If desire is noble and strong, then we can find momentum for our evolution. Then second one is called Suvicharana or Vicharini. Suvicharana, it is the stage where one walks further on the path of the chakras and on the outer path of having a loving attitude, because Suvicharana, Su means good, Vicharana means thoughts. So always good thoughts only. So overcoming obstacle with a vigilant outlook and constantly praying, one can reach this stage of Suvicharana or Vicharini. Means all the thoughts now are good thoughts. We don't get any negative thoughts or bad thoughts. So this is the further stage. Then third stage we arrive according to the Yoga Vasishtha is called Tanu Manasa. Tanu Manasa means, Tanu means dilute. Manasa means our mind. So thinness of mind, or you can say transparency of mind. So through our inner movement in the chakras or outer movement in love and devotion, the mind's restlessness and impurities become very thin, dilute. So clarity of understanding and freedom from emotions we can experience. So far we are under the play of emotions. Now in Tanumanasa stage, our emotions have become much balanced and we have more clarity and we start feeling more love, devotion, because our mind is diluted, thin. Then fourth stage is called Sattvapatti or Sattapatti. Sattapatti means experience of existence of soul and God, because Sat is God or soul. So in every breath we start feeling presence of soul or presence of God. This is Sattapatti. Then comes the next stage, which is Asansakti or Samsakti. So it is Samsakti, it is from Asakti, or Samsakti means attachment. So A means not, so freedom from attachment. In the fifth stage, when we grow, we start experiencing that after attainment of fire of discriminative knowledge, prajna, one is blessed with detachment and dispassion. So we start becoming detached from all the fruits of action, or anything happens, we are detached and completely remaining God consciousness. In this stage of asansakti, a person remains or experiences the soul in all and everything. Before this stage, a person experiences the presence of soul or God in every breath. Now, in everything around, within, only soul, my own consciousness is playing everywhere. Then comes the sixth stage, we call it Padartha Bhavini. Padartha Bhavini, it is the stage where one remains absorbed at the feet of Lord. So now from soul to the complete divinity. This is Padartha Bhavini, is the state of perfection of the fourth and fifth stage, which is described here. Fourth and fifth means one feels presence of God in the breath and one feels presence of God in everything. So here in the Padartha Bhavini, it is a state of perfection of those two states. That means experiencing our own consciousness everywhere, all the time. Then Turiyaga is the last, which is called enlightenment or transcendental state. In this, we transcend all conditionings which can bind a person in the world. So Turiyaga is the state of ultimate experience of eternal union with the divine. So these are the stages one experiences during the practice of yoga, especially Kriya Yoga. So it comes in these stages and one reaches the final stage of Samadhi at the end. Then comes the next. We will not go into much detail of Samadhi because that is the goal and one has to experience. We cannot explain Samadhi with few words only. It is the matter of experience. Pursuing our sadhana, our meditation practice, and then experience. So let's meditate deeply first. Now, the next sutra we will discuss is about the 28th Sutra. What happens when we practice and achieve these stages of samadhi? So it is said, how do we achieve these stages? Yoga anga anushthanat ashuddhi kshaye jnana dipti aviveka khyate. So it says, by the sustained practice of the limbs of yoga. Now, Sage Patanjali is bringing us to the practice. He is telling about the goal, the different stages. Now, how do we reach there? So he's telling about the practice. By sustained practice of the limbs of yoga, upon destruction of impurities, there arises light of knowledge into discriminative wisdom. So whatever knowledge we have received in the form of information, we put into practice, and then it is transformed into discriminative wisdom, which is known as Viveka Khyati. So the condition is that first we have to get rid of all the impurities by our continuous meditation. And once we remove the impurities, our light of soul, it is emanated, and we reach the highest state of wisdom. So Ashuddhi Kshaya. Now Ashuddhi Kshaya, there are two interpretations here. Sage Patanjali is speaking about Ashuddhi means impurities. So three types of impurities are there. Number one, Klesha Rupa Ashuddhi means impurities in the form of Klesha. And we have discussed what are the five Klesha. Five Klesha, Klesha means sufferings or inflictions. So we already discussed in our previous classes that avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Ignorance, ego, and likes, dislikes, and the fifth one is fear of death. These are the sufferings. So these are known as klesha rupa ashuddhi. So we become free from these impurities. Then this second impurity within us is viparyasya jaya ashuddhi rupa kshaya. Impurities in the form of false knowledge. The knowledge which we receive from external sources is not the real knowledge. Sometimes it's false knowledge. So we can discriminate easily, and impurity in the form of false knowledge also is removed, and we remain in real knowledge. Then mal avarana vikshepa rupa shuddhi, impurities in the form of dirt, welling power, and the power of projection. This welling power and power of projections are the power of Maya, or you can say ignorance. So we become free from these impurities also. However, by practicing the limbs of yoga, one can be free from all these impurities. Brahmarshi Satyadeva, he has given three different types of impurities. He says Mala, Avarana, and Vikshepa. These are the impurities in our mind or body, you can say. So what is mala? Mala means dirt, non-recognition of the self. Again, it is the part of avidya or ignorance. We are soul in the body, but we think we are body. So this is dirt. This is mala, because we are not able to recognize. Then avarana, why it happens? Avarana means covering or veiling power. So self or soul is covered up. The soul is always there, but it is covered with five sheaths, five, you can say, coverings. And through these coverings, we are more bound with the physical body. And third is known as vikshepa, power of projection. So considering the body as the self is known as vikshepa. However, we can remove these impurities by practice of limbs of yoga. Now the next question, what are those limbs of yoga? So Sage Patanjali is bringing us now to the real practice, which is known as Ashtanga Yoga, or 8 limbs of yoga. So what are those 8 limbs? In the next sutra, sutra number 29, Sage Patanjali is talking about these 8 limbs of yoga. He says yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Ashtav angani. So these are the 8 limbs. What is the meaning? Yama means self-discipline. Niyama, vow of observances. Asana means physical postures. Pranayama is the regulation of breath. Pratyahara, withdrawal of sense organs from its object. Dharana is concentration. Dhyana means meditation. And Samadhi is the realization. These are the 8 constituent limbs of yoga. I want to clarify one thing. These 8 limbs of yoga, sometimes people get confused that these are the 8 steps. They are not steps. A step means one after the other you have to practice or reach there. But they are limbs. Limbs of the body, they move together. So all these 8 limbs, one has to practice simultaneously. They are not step by step. So simultaneously we practice these 8 limbs and we reach Samadhi, the final one. In this context, let me tell you, when these 8 limbs are there, so there are 2 ways to explain it. Yama and Niyama, these 2 are known as Adhikara Yoga. Adhikar means qualification. When we follow Yama and Niyama, then we become qualified to follow the path of yoga. Very often people think that we can just go to studio, learn yoga, but we have to be qualified first, and Yama Niyama are those qualifications which we will discuss in the next slides. And Tapah, Swadhyaya, Ishwar Pranidhana, these 3 are known as Kriya Yoga. Now, among these 8 limbs, there are 2 ways. One is known as Bahiranga and other one is Antaranga. Means internal, first is external aspect of yoga and internal aspect of yoga. So first 4 limbs like Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, they are the Bahiranga, means external aspect of yoga, because it involves body, mind, etc., or dealing with other people. And Antaranga, internal practice, is Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. These 4 are internal aspects of yoga. Then it comes Sanyama. It will be in the further classes we'll discuss. 3 together, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi, are known as Sanyama. So Ashtanga Yoga you can divide like 4 plus 4 or 5 plus 3. So first 4 limbs are Sharira Yoga, physical aspect, and rest 4 are known as Atma Yoga, mental aspect. However, let's come to our discussion about these 8 limbs. So as I said, Yama means disciplining the unnecessary restlessness of body and mind. That is called Yama. Niyamas, they are the rules or dutifulness to lead a disciplined life daily and regularly. So Yama is related to myself. Those rules or those disciplines which help me to grow, to become free from the play of body and mind. And Niyama, when I live in society with other people, so how should I behave or conduct? Those rules or observances are known as Niyama. Then third is Asana. It is the posture, physical posture, or positioning the body proper to be fit for a specific work. When we want to reach into Samadhi state, so first we have to perfect asana, means we need to stay in one position for longer period of time. We should sit. It is said that asana jaya, it is also part of Yoga Sutra, it will come later. Asana jaya means perfecting asana, means in one position if you can stay for minimum 3 hours, then you have perfected the posture. However, fourth is pranayama, expansion of life energy, heart, and love. That means through breath regulation, we practice this 4th limb. Then pratyahara, withdrawal of the sense organs from the sense objects. Dharana is absorption of mind again and again in the desired goal or action. So it is more concentration. Dhyana is deep meditation or absorption, and Samadhi is complete oneness with God. So these are the 8 limbs. Now, what are the yamas? We'll go into a little bit detail about these. So what are the yamas? In the 30th Sutra, Tatra Ahimsa Satya Asteya Brahmacharya Aparigraha Yamaha. That means the practice of self-discipline consists of five values: non-injury, ahimsa; truthfulness, satya; non-stealing is asteya; brahmacharya means continence; and aparigraha means not to collect, or non-acceptance of gifts. That means not to collect unnecessary things, to become free from greed. So these are the five yamas. Again, non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, continence, and non-possessiveness. These are the five yamas. It is said in the next sutra that desha, jati, desha, kala, samaya, anavachinnaha, sarvabhauma, mahavratam. These yamas or these values, they are universal values. They are great vows, not conditioned by class, place, time, or circumstances, but they are extending everywhere. What does it mean? It is not meant that only people living in USA will follow non-violence. Only people living in certain community will follow truthfulness. But these five values, they are, or disciplines, they are sarvabhauma, means universal. No matter in which community, in which class, in which age, in which place you are living, in what circumstances you are living, it doesn't matter. You have to follow these five disciplines. So then what are the niyamas? There are five niyamas in this sutra number 32. It is said, Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani niyamaha. So five niyamas are also mentioned here, vows of observance. And again, to remind you, yamas are related to myself, to discipline my body and my mind. But niyamas are related to my conduct when I am living with other people in the society. So these are known as Shaucha means purity, Santosh is contentment, Tapa means austerity, penance, and Tapa also means breath regulation or pranayama. Swadhyaya means self-study, self-analysis, or you can say the study of scripture. And Ishwar Pranidhan means surrender to God or unconditional love for God. So these are the five niyamas to follow when I live in society or in family with other people. What happens when we practice these? Now, when we are practicing, we are fine. But most of the time, when we are not meditating, we forget these disciplines or values. So it is said that whenever we are practicing yama and niyama, and the mind is still disturbed by improper thoughts or constantly thinking deeply of their opposites. So whenever mind is disturbed, and now how can mind be disturbed? We are trying to follow non-violence, but still the thoughts of violence are coming. We are following truthfulness, but still the mind is busy with some tricks and following untruth. We want to be happy and content, but still the mind is unhappy, mind is discontent. So these are the opposite thoughts which are not conducive for our practice. So Sage Patanjali is suggesting that whenever negative thoughts bother you or opposite thoughts which are not good for us, when they bother you, then what to do? So in Sutra number 33, he is suggesting this method or this technique, which is known as Pratipaksha Bhavana. So it says Vitarka Badhane Pratipaksha Bhavanam. While practicing all these yama and niyamas, when the mind is disturbed by improper thoughts, then constantly we should think of the opposite. So this is the remedy. For example, thought of hatred comes, dislike, then you start thinking about loving that person. If thought of harming somebody comes, think about the forgiveness. So just opposite thought you have to bring to replace the thought which is bothering you. This is the method. And it is said that in the next sutra it says Vitarka hinsadayah krata karita anumodita lobha krodha moha purvaka mradu madhya adhimatra dukkha ajnana anantafala iti pratipaksha bhavanam. So what is pratipaksha bhavana? Sage Patanjali explaining further that these are the improper thoughts or emotions such as. So what he's giving an example that what are the improper thoughts or negative emotions such as thoughts of hurting others, instigating violence, etc. So he's just giving one example, but you can make all different negative thoughts you can list here. They are done by oneself. Now he's telling, says Patanjali explaining, that these thoughts or these actions which are improper negative, there are three modes actually. Sometimes the action, whether it is physical, mental, or verbal action, it is done by the self. Sometimes it is done by other people, or it is approved by other people or approved by us. Because of greed, anger, and delusion, we have these three modes that sometimes we commit mistake ourselves, sometimes we instigate other people to commit mistake or do violence, and sometimes we just approve it. But in all three cases, we are the party to our karma. Whether they are slight, medium, or intense karma, they result in endless pain and ignorance. So there is a need to address it. And the method to address these negative tendencies, thoughts, or emotions, to think opposite of that. Whatever thought is there, negative thought, just think of the opposite of that thought. As I gave example, if there is thought of violence, bring the thought of love, and so on. So this is the method to practice apart from our Kriya practice or our meditation. The next sutra, there are sutra number 35 to 39. It just explains the benefits of practicing yama. Suppose the 5 yamas we start practicing in our life. So what is the benefit? What do we really achieve? It says that when we practice ahimsa, ahimsa is non-violence. So mentally, verbally, or physically, we should refrain from harming or hurting others. Very often we do not hurt people physically, but mentally we hurt a lot. And also verbally. Using abusive words is hurting others verbally. And it is also karma. Sometimes we do not react immediately, but mentally we think of taking revenge with whomever we are upset or unhappy. So this is also mental karma. It is also violence. And most of the time we do mental violence more. So if we practice non-violence in all these three aspects, physical, mental, and verbal, then what do we achieve? So the benefit we get is upon being firmly established in non-violence, ahimsa, there is abandonment of hostility in one's presence. That means if we are established in non-violence, then anybody coming in contact with us will forget any negative thoughts related to violence. So people who come in contact with us, they will forget their hostility. Even if they come with a wrong intention, bad intention, but as soon as they come near us, they will forget. Why? Because we are established in non-violence, and this is the benefit or effect that other people forget their enmity or hostility. Then if you follow Satya, Satya is truth. Again, Satya or truth, it is not the relative truth which we practice in our day-to-day life. We use it. But here Satya means absolute truth. And only God, only soul is absolute truth, which does not change in any period of time. So mentally, physically, verbally, when we follow truthfulness, we speak truth, we think about truth, and we act in truth, then the benefit is being firmly established in truthfulness. Action and the result rest on the action. So we become free from the result of our karma. Action and the result rest on the action. So we become free, means We think, okay, God will take care of everything because we are established in truth who is God. So we do not get the result of our action. God will take care of that. Then it comes this asteya. Asteya means non-stealing. When we are established in non-stealing, then what happens? Asteya pratishtayam sarva ratnopasthanam means all precious things come on their own. That means sometimes we desire we should get money, we should get this, we should get that. So all the prosperity, all the comforts, you don't need it. You don't desire for that, but they come. You get that. Then comes the fourth one, brahmacharya. If we follow continence or um, celibacy. So on being firmly established in continence, vigor is obtained. Virya labha means we become physically, mentally strong. Brahmacharya pratisthayam virya labha. So physical, mental strength comes when we follow continence. Then comes the fourth yama, which is aparigraha. Parigraha is collecting, means not. So when we follow this fifth yama, aparigraha sthairye janma kathanta sambodha. When non-covetousness becomes steady, means when we start following this yama, not to collect many gifts, not to collect unnecessary things, we become free from greediness. So there arises knowledge of where and how of birth, means a person can get the knowledge of previous births. And very often people ask this question that how can I know my last birth or previous birth, who I was, where I was. So follow aparigraha and you will get this siddhi, you will get this yogic power, benefit of non-stealing, that you will know about your births. Janma katantha sambodha. So these are the 5 yamas and their benefits when we are established. Again, it's not practicing for few days or one day, but it is remaining established in these disciplines or values, then we get all these benefits. Then what about the niyama? There are 5 niyama we discussed. Shaucha, Santosha, Tapah, Swadhyaya, Ishwar, Pranidhana. So now in the verse number 42, 46, 45, says Patanjali is talking about the benefits of practicing niyama. So Shauchat Swa Anga Jogupsa Parahe Asansargah. When we practice purity or cleanliness, again it is mental and physical both. So from physical cleanliness or purity arises disgust for one's own body and disinclination of contact with others. What does it mean? When we are remaining in purity or cleanliness, physically and mentally both, then we start feeling disgust with our own body. Means we are too much attached with our own body. And we are taking care of the body, which is fine as a temple of God, but we are too much attached. And because of that, we want to enjoy the pleasures of our sense organs through sense organs. So when we are too much body conscious, we cannot become free from it and we cannot become God conscious because both are opposite. So Shaucha or purity helps us to be free from the body conscious state. And it is needed. This is the first thing to follow. Then Sattva Shuddhi Somanasya Ekagre Indriyajaya Atmadarshana Yogya Tattvani Cha. From purification of the mind, there is purification of sattva, cheerfulness, one-pointedness, control over the senses, and fitness for self-realization. So we become qualified or fit for self-realization after following physical, mental purity, and we get control over the senses. Then it says Santoshat. The second niyama, Santoshat Anuttama Sukhalabha. Superlative happiness comes from contentment. When we become content with whatever God has provided, we are not greedy anymore. We are not running for sense pleasure or any kind of physical material prosperity. then we start feeling that happiness. It's not ordinary happiness, it is superlative. Anuttamaha means the best kind of happiness comes from contentment. When we are, and it is true, then when we are content, only then we can remain happy. A discontent person cannot remain happy. Then in the next sutra, number 43, says Patanjali is talking about the third niyama. Third niyama is the tapaha. So kaya indriya siddhi ashuddhi kshaya tapasaha. Through destruction of impurities by austerity, one attains perfection of the physical body and the sense organ. So how do we achieve control over the senses? So tapaha or austerity helps us to have control over the body and sense organs. When we are practicing any discipline like meditation or japa, so we are sitting still. But what happens? Our body, our mind, they are not disciplined. Sometimes you observe that you are trying to meditate, but your head is swinging or your body is swinging. So this is indiscipline, means body is not steady, body is not disciplined. Similarly, mind is not disciplined. So practicing tapa means also breath regulation or pranayama, or tapa means austerity like refraining from food, keep fasting for one day or few days, not to speak too much or follow some silence day. So these are tapas. Following this austerity or tapas, we get better control over the body, means body becomes steady for practice and healthy, and sense organs are regulated. Then third, so the fourth one, the fourth limb of niyama, niyama, it is swadhyaya. Swadhyayat ishta devata samprayoga. By self study. Now swadhyaya here, it is having two meanings. Swadhyaya means swa adhyaya, study of your own self, or you can say self inquiry, like who am I? What is my purpose of life? Why did I come in this world? What is my relationship with God? So this is the basic inquiry. I want to know who am I? This is called swadhyaya, contemplation. So swadhyaya means self-inquiry, self-study, or the other meaning of swadhyaya is study of scriptures. So when we practice swadhyaya and we are perfect in that, established in that, then comes communion with one's chosen deity. Ishta Devata Samprayoga. Now let me clarify here. Ishta Devata, what does it mean? In India, a lot of people worship God or love God in form. Remember, God is formless, no doubt, omnipresent, formless, but for our gross mind, it is very difficult to connect with that because we have a body, so we have a form. We can connect easily with any form. To think about formless is not so easy in the initial stages. So we choose a form of divinity. So people, when they choose a form of deity or a divinity, it is known as Ishta Devata. It can be male, female deity or any form. For example, Lord Ganesha, Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna, Mother Mary, Jesus, Buddha, they're all form. So they are Ishta. We choose according to our like or whomever we feel love or connected with. So initially we contemplate or meditate on some form and then we go to formless meditation. Even in Kriya practice, initially we use some form. Divine light, divine sound, divine pulsation, breath and chakra, they are the forms of divinity. And then we leave them behind and go to formless meditation, transcending all these limitations. So when we practice Swadhyaya and we are established in that, then we can communicate or we can have the vision of our chosen form of divinity or deity. Very often you might have read in Sri Lahidi Mahashaya's book, he's writing in his diary, Today I saw Lord Krishna. Today I saw Mother Kali. So this is Ishta Devata Samprayoga. You can have communication. You can have vision of the chosen form of divinity. Then the next one, Ishwar Pranidhana, the fifth niyama, Ishwar Pranidhana. Samadhi Siddhi Ishwar Pranidhanat. Accomplishment of Samadhi is attained through self-surrender to the Lord. So this is the best one, because after becoming free from impurities, disciplining body, mind, senses, now what comes? Ishwar Pranidhana. Ishwar Pranidhana is unconditional love for God or complete surrender to God. That is also limb of Kriya Yoga. So when we completely surrender to God, then only we attain Samadhi. Now another meaning I'll tell you here. Ishwar Pranidhan means it is the path of devotion. When we completely dedicate ourselves to God, that nothing else I can do. I have put all my effort, but now I surrender at your feet. Oh Lord, only you can help me. Then we achieve Samadhi Siddhi. Perfection comes through that. Without practicing anything without love is not going to give us Siddhi or perfection, because love is the element. Bhakti, devotion, love. It is Ishwar Pranidhana. Without love, if we practice anything, it is mechanical practice. It will give physical, mental, intellectual benefits, not the spiritual benefit of Samadhi. So Ishwar Pranidhana is the fifth niyama which leads us to Samadhi. So we are supposed to practice all these 10, 5 yamas, 5 niyamas. They are our qualification to go into meditation or to follow any path, spiritual path. If we are not qualified and we are practicing any discipline, spiritual discipline, we cannot go far. We can achieve some benefits. But when we are talking about Samadhi, the highest goal, then this is the qualification first we have to develop. Now in the path of Kriya Yoga, we do not practice them separately, but we start together. We learn the technique, we practice the techniques, but along with the technique, we also have to follow these 5 yamas and niyamas, disciplines in our day-to-day life also. Then we can expect the result of Samadhi. Coming to the next sutra, these are the 5 ones which we discussed. And let me see. So as we discussed in the sutra number 28, that was Yoga Anga Anushtanat Ashuddhi Kshaye Jnana Deepti Aviveka Khyate. So through the practice of the 8 limbs of yoga, we discuss only in detail, we discuss the 5 yama and niyama, but along with that, when other 6 also we practice, like asana, pranayama, dharana, dhyana, pratyahara, samadhi, all these. Samadhi comes at the end, but up to dhyana or meditation, when we practice these, so there is enhancement of the light of knowledge through purity and freedom from the effect of triple qualities of nature we can get. What does it mean? There are 2 words here, that Jnana Deepti. Jnana Deepti means the light of knowledge. Viveka Khyati means discrimination. Increase in discrimination means between real and unreal. Most of the time we are not able to segregate or separate that what is real, what is unreal. For example, we always think that we are body, but this is not real. Body is unreal because it does not exist always. Soul is real. So instead of thinking that we are soul, we think we are body. So this is known as avidya or ignorance. So we cannot discriminate. But once we start following these yama, niyama, and all the 8 limbs, then our mind becomes more open, heart is open, and we can see things clearly, and we can discriminate that this is real, this is not real, this is permanent, this is impermanent. So whatever is permanent, whatever is real, I will practice that, and what is unreal, I will be detached from that. If you remember Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tat Nirodha, we discussed in one of the classes that through the constant practice and detachment, we can control the mind and we can reach a state of calmness. So Ashuddhi Kshaya. So we discussed these 8 limbs of yoga. Many of the yoga techniques, they are based on only external aspect like asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, and sometimes dhyan also. But the asana, pranayama, these are very external aspect. The internal aspect is more like dharana, it's one pointedness, concentration, meditation, and then we reach samadhi. So in Kriya practice especially, if you remember our discussion in the last class, we discussed about the definition of Kriya, Tapaha Swadhyay Ishwar Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So Tapaha Swadhyay Ishwar Pranidhana. If you remember these 3 as the part of Kriya Yoga, and these 3 are also mentioned here in the Niyama. 5 niyamas are Shaucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Swadhyay, Ishwar Pranidhana. So when we follow these, not only in the practice of Kriya, means when we are meditating, we follow these 3, Tapaha, Swadhyay, Ishwar Pranidhana. But we also follow these when we are living with other people in the society because they are the niyama. What does it mean? Tapaha means when we are practicing our pranayam technique, we think of God. But when we are not practicing, we are living with other people. At that time also we are breathing. But in that breath also, we need to think of God. That is tapaha. Swadhyay, when we are practicing our techniques during meditation, at that time, we are doing our self-inquiry. We are more into that I am not body, but I am remaining in soul consciousness. I'm in breath. Every moment we are feeling presence of God. Similarly, when we live with other people, so Swadhyay means we should always think of God in every action. And then Ishwar Pranidhana, complete surrender to God or unconditional love for God. Yes, when we are meditating, we feel little presence of God. We feel calmness. And Gurudev said, calmness is godliness. We feel, but what happens to us when we are living with other people in the society? When we are not meditating at that time, mind is again restless. We forget divinity. So Ishwar Pranidhan also as a niyama has to be practiced. Living with other people means to feel presence of God in others also. Yes, there is presence of God within us, but there's presence of God in others. So this is how the yama and niyama are part of our day-to-day life, whether we are meditating or we are not meditating. Similarly, the 8 limbs together when we practice, then we can expect the result as samadhi. And again, samadhi, as we discussed today, it's not suddenly we achieve, but step by step we progress and various stages we experience. So different stages of samadhi we experience. This is all purification. It is the process of refinement. And truly speaking, Kriya Yoga is the process of refinement. Refinement of our mind. The mind which is vibrating at very gross level. It starts vibrating at very high frequency so that we can penetrate those realms which are the subtle realms, and we can even transcend those and absorb ourselves, complete absorption, which is called samadhi. We often talk about samadhi, samadhi. Yes, it is goal and we must remember this goal, but it is not easy. To attain samadhi, it takes lots of practice. Sometimes life after life, people practice continuously and then they achieve it. However, there is uh, assurance by our masters, and also we have proof that hundreds of people have attained Nirvikalp Samadhi by practicing Kriya Yoga in one lifetime. If we practice these limbs and without disturbance or without thinking of any other thing, we just focus on our own practice while living with the people and while meditating our own selves. In both cases, when we follow these practices, disciplines, then there will be success. And these 8 limbs of yoga, they are the core practice. Sometimes people call them Ashtanga yoga. And there is also a misconception. Some people think that these 8 limbs of yoga are not Kriya Yoga. Is Kriya Yoga different? The answer is no. Sage Patanjali has taught only Kriya Yoga, because in the second book, he's explaining the definition of Kriya Yoga only. And then elaborately he's explaining the 8 limbs of yoga. Sometimes we say that Kriya Yoga is only 3, but it is not true. Kriya practice includes all these 8 limbs. That means Yama, Niyama also are part of our life, whether we are meditating or we are not meditating. They have to be practiced. So don't exclude them. It is part. So this is complete yoga, integral yoga. And remember, these disciplines like Yama and Niyama we discussed, they are not limited to some people or some community or some conditions. They are universal. No matter wherever you are, whoever you are, you have to practice this. And why to practice? The very first reason is that they are the qualifications. Unless we are qualified, how can we progress in our meditation and go to the final goal of samadhi? So let us practice these 8 limbs sincerely, regularly, and we can achieve our goal in this life, which is assurance by our masters. So I am praying to God, let us get more sincerity, more discipline. I'm not going into too much detail of these limbs, because most of you already know about it and you can read in the book also. But I just wanted to give some little bit of information so that we can continuously practice and be more dedicated. Remember, to achieve perfection, it needs lot of determination, continuous practice. On and off practice does not help, because it's a build up. Every single day we are progressing. And another thing, sometimes we are not able to practice, so we think that we are not progressing, which is also not true. In every breath there is evolution. Every sitting or every session of our meditation, we are progressing. There is no possibility of going back, but sometimes we are stuck. I'll give you a simple example that if a river is flowing continuously, you can see the path of river. Sometimes it is taking a curve. Sometimes it is moving through different zigzag path. And sometimes you see that river is like turning and it looks like it is reversed. It is going back, but it never goes back. It finds another path. So our practice also goes like that. We feel as if we are going back or we are not progressing. We might be there stuck for some time, but we don't go back. We still continue our path like the river. So let us practice with more love, more sincerity. Theory is helpful, but practice is more important. Praying for all, the entire creation. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all become happy, healthy, loving and compassionate. May there be no suffering, no sorrow. May there be more love, peace, and harmony among all of us and in this entire creation. May the blessings of God and Masters be upon us all and everywhere. Om. Amen. Thank you all. I bow to all of you. I'll see you again next month. Till then, practice with love.